Thank you, Finn. Thank you, Arne, and thank you everyone who joined the webinar today, and also hello to those who listen to the recording later. It's my pleasure to present and activate you for this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day. We are a long-term member of the SuSanA, and I've personally been engaged since many years. So reaching out and offering this opportunity today through the SuSanA partnership is really great for me, and I hope you take away some inspiration from today. I'm going to share with you the overarching narrative for 2021, the theme, some materials you can expect from us to celebrate the day. I will share more about the menstruation bracelet action, and I'm looking forward to the question and discussion with you. So for those of you who don't know or never heard about Menstrual Hygiene Day, the day was initiated for the first time in 2014, and we all have a common goal, and that is that by 2013, no woman or girl is kept from realizing her full potential because she menstruates. And the world should have really no period stigma and period poverty. Menstrual Hygiene Day as a day celebrated since 2014 on 28 May contributes to that goal by raising awareness on the challenges, but also possible solution for women and girls who menstruate, and also engages in advocacy with decision makers and key relevant stakeholders to advance the agenda. It's built on a broad partnership of close to 700 organizations from NGOs, civil society, media, universities, UN organizations from really across, and social businesses from across the world. And maybe you're already a member, so please type in the chat box if you already are. MH Day is really growing every year, and because of the shortness of time, I only want to give you a snapshot of what was achieved last year. And last year, as we all know, has been a really special year. And we didn't know if MH Day could happen, and we made it happen under the theme of Periods Don't Stop for Pandemic. And the reach was larger than ever. Overall, we reached more than 411 million people with positive messages around menstruation. And on the left side, you can also see the growth in impact over the last years. But now coming to this year, and we're now, what we see is that the world is still much in a COVID-19 crisis mode. Depending on where you live, it can be very horrible, from India to a little bit more relaxed. But it's really unclear when the pandemic globally will be under control. It is also very clear that the pandemic has exacerbated the menstruation-related challenges women and girls face around the world. And we need to tackle these challenges still with urgencies, being it access to products, infrastructure, education, and just general safety and dignity. But also at the same time, we have to look ahead so we don't lose sight of our joint long-term goal, meaning a world without period stigma and period poverty, because discussions are starting also in a few countries about how we do post-pandemic recovery and what happens afterwards. Kids go back to school, etc. So that is also really important to still raise the flag that periods matter. Next slide. To achieve this goal, what I just said, it is very clear we need to step up action and investment in menstrual health and hygiene now, starting with this MH Day, and waiting for the pandemic to end is not an option. So this is we have the technical solutions, we have organizations ready to take action at scale. It's really what matters is that we need to mobilize the financial resources to make it happen. Next slide. So here you see in very short the theme for this year. It's more action and investment in menstrual health and hygiene now. The hashtags we use is always MH Day 2021, and it's time for action. Next slide. What is really important for us is to stress that the more we speak with one common voice, the louder and more clearly our message will be heard. It's like a choir. If we all use the same notes, then the song is really nicely heard. And we always choose a very, very broad theme. And in this case here, it's more action and investment. Because under this broad theme, if you can click, Finn, you can always align this call for action to the issues that are most relevant in your context. So this could be education or improve access to menstrual products, tackle stigma, and looking at pandemic and emergencies. So this broad call is very flexible to add that. Next slide. For you to celebrate really easily, we as the Secretariat, we always create a set of campaign materials. Since last year, we work with different international artists. And here I have an exclusive sneak preview for you, what you can expect. The materials will be ready next week. And they always address some of the aspects of the global theme, education, stigma, and so on. What is also important is to make it really your own material. There's space at the bottom for you to add your organizational logo. So here I have an example. And yeah, feel free to make use of the materials. We will translate them usually into French and Spanish, and then some other languages like German, Hindi, Portuguese, and Arabic are following. Next slide. If you can't wait or if you want to create your own materials, all we ask you is to add the campaign logo. This is here on the left, and there's a very, very super short one-page design guide that shows you how to do it. And I also have some examples, some examples how other partners integrate the logo into their materials. And again, it's like similar to the same narrative. If you use just the campaign logo and the hashtag, you belong to this global campaign, and with that increase relevance for your own activity and vice versa. Other materials you can expect from us are an infographic. We call it like a roadmap around the theme. And we will create a video with the movement, so with you, also as a little bit of a preview. We're going to do probably a choreography on Zoom with all of you, and we'll communicate very soon when the date is to join this group Zoom call to make a choreography. Next slide. And there's one thing that you can already participate now. We call it the menstruation bracelet action. And you might have spotted the bracelet already around the new campaign logo. This is really something we started last year, and our aim is really to say that the menstruation bracelet is the global symbol for menstruation. It has 28 elements, out of which 5 are red, that representing the menstrual cycle, but also a reminder on Menstrual Hygiene Day on 28/5. By wearing the menstruation bracelet and sharing a picture, you really show that periods are nothing to hide and thus help to end period stigma, one picture at a time. The nice thing is there's no official menstruation bracelet. It really is for everyone to create a bracelet of your choice. So we've seen bracelet made from beads or like paper. They're like paper bracelets, balloons. People glued chickpeas on a double-side tape and then colored them, or just simply made some nice one using flowers, chilies. And so, yeah, and the cheapest method is always toothpaste and lipstick. So the creativity is endless, whatever you want to build the menstruation bracelet and then wear it on 28 May. It also works across cultures and geographies. So we've received last year pictures from really across the world, and that is really the power of a symbol, that it works and speaks to everyone. Mm-hmm. It is very, very easy to participate. So what you can find on our website is some simple videos. We also have some, if you want, some templates to cut out paper bracelets if you want. And there are also digital bracelets. So these are pictures or animated GIFs that you can place on your image or on Instagram story. So super, super easy as well. And these are the new GIFs that I just included in this presentation that should be ready actually later today on our website, or latest by tomorrow to download. Mm-hmm. With this menstruation bracelet, there are 4 ways to use it. So first and second is kind of internal. So engage your colleagues or your leadership in the organization. The third one is to engage your community. That could be a community on social media, on your followers, but it could also be participants in your events, depending on what you do. We also seen that it is a really great tool, like symbol, to engage political decision makers. And yeah, you choose whatever fits what you want to do, your target audience, whatever works best for you. And if you post a picture, only what we ask you is to use the hashtag so we can find your picture. Mm-hmm. Next slide. So yeah, I have some examples on how to engage your colleagues and the leadership. One is from the SuSanA newsletter last year, and also from the GIZ internally, where they mobilized 100 staff people, and the leadership, for example, here, Regional Director UNFPA and WaterAid Myanmar. Mm-hmm. It's really fun and easy. So then, of course, a lot of you also are engaged in social media campaigns or eventually in events on the ground. So ask your followers to also create a bracelet and make a picture. You can tag people, and it's also really a fancy way of engaging influencers. And of course, if you create an event, do maybe distribute the bracelet or conduct the short activities on making the bracelet, and then take some images for us. A small tip is always choose the right channel. This might be Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, wherever your followers are best reached. And lastly, engaging political decision makers. Here you see some examples how political decision makers already took a stand for menstruation by wearing the bracelet. And if you have contacts to decision makers, could be local government, could be a minister, hand over a bracelet and ask them to take a picture. And maybe even ideally they post it on their own website. It might take a little bit time, but keep on pushing. And ideally what we want to see is that decision makers not only post a picture of themselves, but really make tangible commitments to the issue of menstrual health and hygiene. I come to the end of my very short presentation, and I have 5 asks to you. If you're not already a member, just become an official MH Day partner and subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss out the updates that we'll share. If you plan for an event, could be online or offline, also let us know. There is an event registry on the Menstrual Hygiene Day website. Please always use the hashtag and campaign logo, and feel free to use the free campaign materials. And of course, we are looking forward for you to join the menstruation bracelet action and receive wonderful pictures from you all. And in case there are some action commitments done by your leadership or your government, please let us know as well. So my 5 asks, easy to remember as the 5 dots of the menstruation bracelet. And yeah, the last slide are my contact details and the website where you can find all the information. And yeah, I want to thank you all, and hope you have some ideas and suggestions to share later in the discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ina. We actually already have a question from, I think, Elena. Yeah. Elena, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question directly?
I can do that. Are the materials you're offering free to use, or do we have to have anything in mind regarding copyrights, etc.?
No, they're very free to use. The only thing is we ask you not to modify those pictures because they're created by artists, but all the materials we create are always free to use.
Thank you very much.
Modification would be you have an image and then you do another skin color or use another pattern. I think the artists are very particular, but beyond that, just use the images and they're all for different social media formats. So they're free to use.
Thank you, Ina. Also, Salua just posted the contact details, including your email address and the Menstrual Hygiene Day email address, as well as the website in the chat, and also where you can follow Ina and the Menstrual Hygiene Day Secretariat on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I would then continue before we start with the discussion, and it would be looking back and forward, the SuSanA newsletter, and then we're going to your MH Day activities. So first looking back, in 2020, on the 28th of May for the MH Day, the SuSanA Secretariat released a newsletter where we had topics, amongst others, like the menstruation bracelet that Ina also just presented. We also had a virtual launch of a new SuSanA publication called Menstrual Hygiene Management, Relevant, Intersectoral, and on the Rise. We had some focus on the topic of impacts of COVID-19 on MHM, which is still a topic today, unfortunately. I think not any one of us would have thought that. And we also celebrated the new forum category on SuSanA in the discussion forum on equity and inclusion. And if you want to read the whole newsletter from the last year, I think Salua should have the link and we'll post it in the chat. But now looking forward to this year's newsletter of the SuSanA, we thought that we have more than 360 partner organizations and more than 13,000 members. On the right in the map, you can see the locations of our SuSanA partners or the SuSanA partner organizations. And we thought it would be really interesting and cool to see what are your MH Day related projects and activities. So we would like to invite you to participate, to tell your story on what was or will your MH Day related activities be about, what experience did you make in the past, or which lessons would you like to share. I've seen in the chat that, sorry, I forgot your name. You mentioned it. It's your name in the chat is Pivet CMR. I saw that you already posted about your Menstrual Hygiene Day activities from last year. So I would really like to maybe already now hear about your stories, your MH Day activities, and would really like to invite you to send your activities and get in contact with us. So in 1 month, we can present them in the next SuSanA newsletter. I'll invite you to send us an email to info@susana.org. And we would love to hear about your activities now. And also, if you have any questions, would like to any topic to be discussed now, or just want to talk about your MH Day activities, please, as mentioned in the first slide or the second slide, use the raise your hand question function, or just post the question in the chat.